All right, welcome back to the channel. So it looks like Jermell Charlo is about to make it, finally, because he got called out by Brian Castano, who is the new 154-pound WBO champion, and that means the PBC has complete control of that belt, and we're going to be able to see Undisputed. Does that mean that these people will actually give Jermell Charlo his credit when he beats Castano, or Castano's credit if he was, and he's not, beats Jermell Charlo? Let's talk about that in this video. Sorry for keeping twisting up Jermell and Jermell. You know what I'm talking about. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back, welcome back. So I would say Pop goes another hype job, but that is not quite accurate. Nobody thought Patrick Teixeira was a hype job. We thought, at least I thought, he was somebody that just held a belt because, you know, the WBO is whatever Bob orders. So Bob orders or Oscar De La Hoya orders, the WBO seems to be very much in bed with Top Rank and Golden Boy because they continue to have champions in that weight class. So Jermell Charlo, excuse me, my mind is on Jermell because I want to do a video about Jermell and Canelo, but please excuse me. Jermell Charlo is without a doubt the best 154-pounder in the world. Without a doubt. I think he's one of the top 3-4 fighters in all the world. But now, because the PBC has both the WBO and the IBF, the WBA and the WBC, we should now be able to see these two guys fight each other, right? First, what happened, just briefly what happened in the fight, though, because, you know, people like the fight. I thought I knew what was going to happen, that Castano was just going to beat him up because I didn't think very highly of Teixeira, and that's what happened. Castano is what I would call a very solid contender, right? Very solid contender. He gave Erislandy Lara a very good fight and fought to a draw with an older Erislandy Lara. I think if Erislandy Lara was still really, Erislandy Lara, I think he would have got out that fight, pretty easy with Castano just because of his movement and all that. But, he's pushing closer up to 40 years old. So I do believe Castano was able to take him to a draw. However, Castano is definitely a top 154-pounder, man. Along with guys like Tony Harrison, Erickson Lubin, J-Rock, Jason Rosario, even though, Jason Rosario just got a really bad whooping, but I still think, he's one of the top guys. But 154 pounds is just so incredibly deep. And to be this close to Undisputed means that Jermell Charlo or Castano, if they get out of this, should definitely be considered by the quote unquote mainstream media as a top pound for pound guy. And now why would this be? They can't get out of it, man. They cannot get out of it. If you look at what has happened with every other undisputed champion, they are put in the top pound for pound. Terrence Crawford was put into he was in there a while ago, even though moving up multiple weight classes is something, without a doubt. But when I look at Jermell and I look with Terrence, I think Terrence might have a little bit more, definitely more wrinkles to his game. But if you look at what these two guys have accomplished and who they've beaten, dude, Jermell Charlo is right there with them. Now, with 3 belts, because he has the WBC, he has the WBA, he has the IBF. If he gets that WBO, I can't wait to hear the excuses that people are going to make for why they won't put him in the top pound for pound. When Alexander Usyk won his undisputed championship in the Super 6 tournament, the World Boxing Super Series, he was put in the top pound for, he was put in the top pound for pound, right? And what do they say? Well, he's got all 4 belts. He must be one of the best. Look at the people that Usyk beat to get that undisputed championship, and you will find that they are not the same level of talent that Jermell Charlo had to go through. Jermell Charlo has had to go through Erickson Lubin, who is still a top contender and was one of the best amateurs in the United States, considered to be on par with Errol Spence Jr. when he came out of the amateurs, has not lost since and has looked devastating in every other fight except for the one with Jermell Charlo. He then beats Tony Harrison, who is also a top-level fighter that would definitely that definitely is going to beat Teixeira, and I think beats Castano too. A fight between Tony Harrison and Castano, because Castano doesn't really have the power just to knock you out. And he doesn't have the power that a Jermell Charlo has. Tony Harrison will be able to box on the outside of Castano or Teixeira all day long, man. And he already beat him. He beat Jason Rosario. Jason Rosario versus Castano would be a good fight. Jason Rosario versus Teixeira is a massacre. Right? These are top-level fighters that Jermell Charlo is beating. Unlike Usyk, who you ain't never heard none of the guys he fought. Who did he beat? Bradis, Tortico. He didn't beat Tortico's like Bradis and Marius Bradis and a bunch of cruiserweights you never heard of. But yet, he definitely got into the top 10 pound for pound off of that, didn't he? For sure. No doubt about it. Definitely got that. Terrence Crawford, right? Who did he beat to get his undisputed title? And I'm not diminishing it. Julius Ndungo, Felix Diaz, very quick to it. Jermell, has had to be in the deepest division that there is in boxing, except for maybe the 147 pound division. Actually fight the top guys, be in there while his brother, who's another top fighter, was in that weight class. Get ducked by Demetrius Andrade, who is now a 168 pounder, right? And the WBO 168 pound champion. Did all of that, and he has to be a top 4 pound for pound fighter after this takes place. But do you think that they will do it? I don't think that they'll do it. I think that they will find a way not to, because that will throw the quota off. You have Errol Spence Jr. who's there. You have Terrence Crawford that is in a top pound for pound. Is there any other black people in there? I don't think so. Maybe they got AJ somewhere in there. People will throw AJ in there for some reason. But no, that's it. Now you got to put Jermell in there. When you really should have already put Jermell in there and Jermall in there and Gary Russell Jr. in there and Tank Davis in there at the least. Because they are the ones that are dominating their competition. They're the big stars. They're fighting in a country where most of the top competition takes place. They're not fighting in Japan with a bunch of guys where they only got 15, 20 fighters that are in that weight class that are world class, period. I'm not talking about echelon, top echelon. I mean guys that could be considered world class at all. Like in the welterweight division, the top guys there aren't just world class, they're elite. Lower level guys like Jermall James is world class, right? You wouldn't call him elite, but Jermall James is world class. The little class, they don't even have those type of level fighters that these guys are fighting. But they put him in the top 10 pound for pound. So here's the hoping. Now that Jermell Charlo will get his shot against Brian Castano for the undisputed title of the world, 154 pound title of the world. Here's the hope that they will actually give this guy the respect that he deserves and put him on ESPN's top 10 pound for pound list, put him on Ring Magazine's top 10 pound for pound list. Be honest, call it like it is. And maybe one day, little thing maybe Oscar will do. Hey, Oscar, you own a magazine called Ring Magazine. Why don't you try to make it the best boxing magazine that there is? Just the best. The one that's going to tell you the truth. The one that's going to give you the information that you need. The one that is going to clear all the smoke in the air that promoters want to put out there. Why don't you try selling Ring Magazine like that and a whole bunch of people might be willing to buy it, even if it's online and comes in an electronic form. But that's just my opinion. You let me know what you think. And thank you so much for coming to the channel. And with that, I'm out. Peace.